Type 1 sucks. Will having a pump make it suck less? How do you tell your healthcare team that you don't want a pump, and do you need to go on one now? If you're thinking about moving from insulin pens to a pump, and the healthcare system is probably making that decision a little bit harder than it needs to be for you. So today we're going to cover 3 specific things: the autopilot myth, the biological reality of wavy basal insulin, and the brutally honest lifestyle trade-offs of wearing a device. You can use those to assess if a pump is right for you. What we're not going to talk about here is a deep dive comparison between the different pump brands on the market. This is a foundational framework to help you decide if a pump is the right management strategy for you in the first place. I'm Curtis, I'm an ex-paramedic, type 1 coach, and stay until the end because if you do decide to put a pump is right for you, I'm going to give you the exact framework to navigate the healthcare system when they try to gatekeep that technology from you. As always, quick reminder, I'm a coach, not your doctor. It's for educational purposes only. Variable number 1 is the autopilot myth. The first thing we need to establish is that an insulin pump is not a magic autopilot button for your type 1 diabetes. If you're someone who's already achieving 80 to 85% time in range on multiple daily injections or just injections, a pump will not miraculously fix that remaining 15%, getting you up to the mid to high 90s. The primary benefit of a pump is not always better clinical numbers, but it is drastically reducing the mental effort to achieve those numbers. However, I will say that if you are really struggling with your type 1 diabetes and you're in the lower ends of time in range, a pump can be a great way to improve those clinical numbers because it will outsource some of the thinking which you may currently be struggling with. So if you switch to a pump expecting to never have to think about your diabetes again, you will be disappointed. But sometimes the problem isn't the effort that you're putting in yourself, it is your biology. You might not be well matched to insulin injections, and that could be the reason you're getting poor clinical numbers. So the second factor to consider here is the biggest physiological flag or red flag that a pump might be the right move for you. And I'm going to explain it to you as the wavy basal problem. Multiple daily injections force you to use a flat type of background insulin, which is your basal insulin, to try and match the wavy biological need of your body. This mismatch often manifests itself as massive, unexplained swings in insulin sensitivity. So if you're someone who finds that your ratios are fine for 2/3 of the day, but then they suddenly double or triple your insulin needs in the evening compared to the morning or vice versa, that could be showing us that daily injections are actually failing to match your body's wavy baseline basal needs. Now, that doesn't mean you can't achieve them, and I'm not talking about slight tweaks, taking a ratio of 1 to 10 at dinner to 1 to 8 in the morning. We're talking about if you're doubling or tripling big swings. It can be a sign that your particular basal profile that your body needs isn't being matched by pens. So if your basal insulin is fighting your biology, no amount of complex carb counting or ratios or strategies are going to save you. We need to get that foundation sorted, which brings us to the final factor. The third factor has nothing to do with insulin and has everything to do with how you actually want to live your life. And it's something the healthcare system often fails to consider. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room here. And this next section will talk to people who are in a financial position to choose between staying on multiple daily injections or going to a pump. I don't know your personal situations, but I just want to acknowledge and see you that if you're not in a financial position to afford a pump, this isn't an option to you. That's the reality of the situation. So if you are in a position to financially afford a pump, well then MDI, if you choose to stay on it, can still be a highly effective way of managing type 1. There's no universal correct method, but there are trade-offs. Choosing to remain on injections over a pump means accepting either more mental effort for the same clinical number of results, or accepting slightly worse numbers for the same amount of effort as if you were to go on a pump. So that's the trade-off there, the effort and the numbers. There's also the physical burden that you need to consider. A pump's permanently attached to you. Putting a pump quietly in your pocket as a guy, for me, is a very different experience to spending your weekend at the beach if you're someone who likes doing that, feeling highly self-conscious about the visible medical device on you. So this is my last point of consideration here. If the mental toll of having a machine attached to your body outweighs the mental relief of better blood sugars or less effort to get those blood sugars, a pump is probably the wrong decision for you right now. That doesn't mean it will always be, it just means right now it's not the best option for you. As type 1 diabetics, I think our mental health and our mental energy is one of the most important and least talked about resources we actually have that directly contributes to better blood sugar outcomes. So what does this mean in real life? If you've weighed the biology and the lifestyle considerations we've talked about here, and you've decided that a pump is or isn't exactly what you need, your final step is to actually communicate that to your healthcare team. So they're not the villains here, that's not what I'm trying to say. Endocrinologists and diabetes educators are human, just like the rest of us, and they can often fall into this trap of pushing management styles that they are most comfortable in treating you with. They're not doing this maliciously, they're human. Everyone does this. We default to what we're more familiar with. Some may insist that you must master injections first. Others will blindly push a pump without considering that you spend every weekend at the beach and you hate wearing medical devices. But they don't live with your condition 24/7. You do. So you need to view yourself as the project manager of your diabetes, and you are the CEO of your healthcare team. They are there to consult with you. Once you make your decision based on the 3 factors we've talked about here, own that decision. If they push back, you don't need to get defensive. It's your choice. You can anchor your argument in reality. You can tell them, hey, I have reviewed my time in range, the daily mental effort required to get that, and my lifestyle. And I have decided that a pump or / injections is the right tool for me right now. How do we execute that safely? You're the only one who has to wear that machine or take the injections every single day, so the final decision always belongs with you. It's your healthcare team's job to make that a reality in a safe and manageable way for you. If this framework helped clarify your decision or gave you some more things to think about in terms of moving or staying on injections or going to a pump, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the fastest way to help me reach more type 1 diabetics, and they may be experiencing burnout or they may be getting subpar advice from their clinicians. I'm wanting to build level diabetes to give you the practical tools and conversations the healthcare system sometimes doesn't address. So drop a comment below, tell me exactly what you're struggling with, and I'll make a video on it, and I'll see you back here next week.